Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Money, Real Business podcast. I'm Lauren, and today we have Ron on the show who's selling an Amazon FBA business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. Hey Ron, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hi Lauren, I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for having me. How about you?
Yeah, I'm wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really looking forward to talking about your business and learning more about you and your history. But before we dive in, I'm going to go over a brief summary of the business so that the listeners know exactly what we're talking about. As I mentioned, this is an Amazon FBA business. It was created in December 2018, and it's in the sports niche. The average revenue for the business is $60,199 per month, and it makes an average of $14,210 per month in net profit. The assets included with the business are an Amazon Seller Central account with 24 SKUs, a primary domain and all site content and files, a secondary domain, supplier relationships, employee relationships, a Shopify account, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube social media accounts, 2 US trademarks and 1 Chinese trademark, and an email list with around 300 subscribers. Please note that inventory is not normally included in the list price, but further details can be provided to verified buyers. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 64049 to learn more about this business. Or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So, Ron, let's hear from you. Can you fill us in on your background in starting and running online businesses?
Sure, yeah. So I actually started my first online business in 2016. I wanted to explore e-commerce and I took a course in my country on how to sell online. And that was selling online using eBay particularly. So I took that course and then I immediately started selling on eBay. I ran the business for around 2 years, and that's pretty much what introduced me to the e-commerce world. I was exposed to the opportunity of making money no matter where you are right now. And then I just decided to take this e-commerce thing more seriously. I was thinking on how to increase my profit margins. And this is when I started learning about Amazon FBA, and that looked really good to me. So basically, this is what brought me to Amazon FBA.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm sure it was very helpful to have that experience that you had with eBay before you started this business. What was it about Amazon FBA that attracted you to it?
I really like the fact that there isn't a lot of operation tasks on a daily basis. I like that you can focus on growth. And on top of that, I really like the profit margins. It looks really good to me when I was researching about this model. So it looked really attractive to me. And this is why I decided to move forward and open an Amazon FBA business.
Yeah, that's a great point. You're right. Amazon takes a lot of your plate so that you can focus on growth. When it came down to picking what products you were going to sell, why did you choose to go into the sports niche?
I really like sports, and naturally I had a connection with this type of products. And the biggest brand in the account is actually, it's my third product. So I did have a few more products I tried before and it didn't go so well. And it took some time until I found success. But I chose this niche because I like using the product that I make. I'm just passionate about it. So this is where it felt most natural for me.
Yeah, having some familiarity with the product and some passion for it definitely goes a long way. As you say, you're very interested in these products. You've experienced some success with the business. What are the reasons you've decided to exit the business now?
Honestly, the main reason for me is that it's getting so hard right now to grow organically. This is what I've been doing from day one. I just reinvested most of the profits. And I'm not 25 years old anymore. I can no longer just reinvest everything, and a growth rate that I'm happy with organically. So that's one reason. Of course, I got to the point where taking it to the next level is going to take even more cash than what I can put into the business right now. after almost 4 years, I think it's time to take some chips off the table and go to the next chapter in life. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of businesses arrive at a point where to grow it further, you'd have to invest quite a lot of capital. Looking back over your journey with this business, are there any particular wins or success stories that really stand out to you?
Yeah, I think the biggest win for me, it was when I told you before that I had my first years in the business. It was really hard. The first product I launched, nothing happened, and that was so frustrating. And then I said, okay, I can move on. And then I launched a second product, and that one was even worse than my first product. It was really hard for me to sell it, and I was spending money every day trying to sell, and it didn't go very well. But I always had in my head that I know that e-commerce has a lot of potential, and I've been doing that 2 years prior to starting the FBA business. So I just decided to go and launch a third product. And I think that when this product was finally successful, this is, I would say, my biggest win since starting the business. That's the shift from losing money to being able to finally see some results.
Yeah, it must have been such a relief when that third product took off, and must have been really exciting to watch it snowball and gain some traction as well. What would you say was your biggest setback or challenge with the business?
For me, logistics, it's been the biggest challenge for me. In particular, during last year's Q4, I had most of my Christmas stock of my best-selling product stuck in custom examination for more than 2 months, and it didn't arrive in time for Christmas. So for me, I worked so hard to prepare for last Christmas, and then something that is beyond my control happened, and the overall shipment took around more than 4 months to be delivered. So that caused me to lose a lot of sales. This is just a specific case in the general challenge of logistics, especially last year.
Yeah, logistics has always been a challenge, but I think the past 2 years have been more challenging than usual. You mentioned that you focus a lot on organic growth. Does that apply to your traffic as well, or are you using PPC or listing description SEO to drive traffic to your products?
I'm doing Amazon PPC mainly. On top of that, I started playing with Google Ads a little bit with low budgets in the past months, but nothing too fancy. I'm not really a PPC expert, so I mainly focus on Amazon to drive traffic to my listing with PPC. I do have an assistant who helps me with PPC tasks, but nothing too serious. One more thing is that I have a collaboration with a professional athlete in that niche, in the brand niche. So he's helping me to create some content, and I upload it to YouTube and some to Instagram. But from those videos, I send traffic to Amazon, and it's organic, but it's not bringing a lot of traffic, but it's great for brand awareness. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think using an influencer, especially in the sports category, is definitely a good way to go. Would that influencer be available to work with the new buyer of the business?
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any problem. We have a good relationship, and I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Fantastic. Well, Ron, what do you see as the major opportunities for growth with your business?
If I had to choose one opportunity of growth, that would definitely be launching more products. I believe that a seller should know his budget and where he can compete successfully and not stock out in case of the product is succeeding. So there are a lot of big markets within the niche of my brand that I never tried launching products to, because I knew that even if I see some success, then I won't have enough money to stay in stock. And when I say stay in stock, is having a product in first page on Amazon and being able to rank without stock out. So I just skipped those markets within the niche, and I think there is a lot of opportunity. So that's the main opportunity of growth, in my opinion. On top of that, I can absolutely do better with logistics, inventory management, expanding into new marketplaces and Walmart. So all of these are some growth opportunities, but for me, the main opportunity is just launching more products. There is a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite a diverse niche, so there's definitely a lot of room for expansion there. We've touched on inventory and logistics already, but let's take a closer look at your supply chain. Can you break down who your suppliers are, what countries they're based in, and how inventory gets to Amazon warehouses?
Yeah, sure. So I have 4 suppliers in total located in China. The account, there are 2 brands. One of them is just one SKU brand, and the second one is the bigger one. So the big brand has 3 suppliers, and they're all in China, as I said, and a fourth supplier also in China for that smaller brand. I'm trying to ship all by sea, but unfortunately, a lot of time I ship with the Sea Express because it's hard for me to sometimes predict the demand, especially during Q4 and before Chinese New Year. So that makes things a little bit harder for me for planning. So unfortunately, I ship a lot of times with Sea Express, making it more expensive. But in general, I'm shipping by sea. Most products, they have around 20 to 30 days of production, and then I would say around between 30 to 60 days for freight. I like to ship most of my inventory to FBA in California and then just distribute to Amazon in small batches to maintain a healthy IPI. So this is pretty much it.
Yeah, perfect. And I think using that 3PL is a good workaround. Have you had any limitations when it comes to inventory limits at Amazon warehouses? And do you know what your current Amazon inventory limits are?
Yeah, the inventory limits right now is more than 17,000. I haven't seen any problem in the last year with inventory limits. I'm utilizing around 50%, so it's not a big deal. That's 17,000. I'm not even really paying attention to that because I always have enough inventory allowed to be shipped. During 2020, of course, wholesalers had these inventory limits more strict than what it is today. So back then, I used some FBM facilities during peak times in order to be able to sell and not rely on Amazon. But these days, there's not a problem at all.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. So, Ron, what does a typical work week look like for you when running this business? How many hours are you spending on the business, and what sort of activities are taking up your time?
I would say I spend around 10 hours a week operating the business. And when I say operating the business, I mean monitoring the markets I'm currently selling at, looking at my listings compared to the competition, how am I performing compared to the competitors, doing some inventory management, placing POs, customer support if needed, and logistics. On top of that, operation 10 hours a week. I spend around 20 hours just trying to grow, doing market researches, developing new products, learning, listening to podcasts. So that's most of the time is trying to grow the business and gain more knowledge in e-commerce in general.
Perfect. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You mentioned that you do have an assistant who helps you. Can you run us through the team you have in place and what everyone does?
Yeah, sure. So I have 2 assistants helping me. First one is doing PPC tasks. I provide her with the SOPs and she's doing the actual work, optimizing the bids and just monitoring her work and upload it to Amazon. But she prepares all the files and make all changes. And she spends around 10 hours a week, something like that, doing that. And I do have another assistant. He's helping me to edit videos, create more content, helping with some graphics. And he's also doing around between 8 to 10 hours a week.
Yeah, it's great. It sounds like you've got a pretty good system in place and that the business is a fairly good source of passive income for you.
Yeah, if I want, I can definitely do the minimum 10 hours and just do the few tasks that are under the operation. So yeah, I would say it's almost passive. But on Amazon, it's never really passive because you always have to keep up with the changes and learn if you want to succeed in the long term.
Yeah, that's very true. You can't take too much time off. Otherwise, things will definitely get out in front of you. With everything that we've discussed in mind, what do you think the biggest challenge will be for a buyer taking over this business?
I think the biggest challenge would be handling logistics and inventory planning. Christmas is the biggest time of the year, and followed by the Chinese New Year, it can be challenging maintaining the right amount of stock. On one hand, not to stock out, and on the other hand, not to order too much inventory. And that happened to me. I think logistics, that's at least what I found the most challenging in the business.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is definitely the most involved process when it comes to e-commerce. How much support are you willing to offer buyers to help them navigate these challenges?
I'm willing to offer up to 6 months of support I really want this brand to succeed, and I think it has a great foundation to be successful. So I'll be here willing to help. Up to 6 months is fine by me.
Yeah, fantastic. I think that buyers will be very grateful to hear that 6 months is a very good amount of support. So at least they know they can rely on you. When it comes time to actually negotiating the details of the sale, would you be open to something like an earn-out agreement?
I know I would like to get most of the money up front, but it doesn't all have to be upfront. So I'm open to chatting with potential buyers and find a structure that can work for both sides.
Fantastic. And would you commit to a non-compete agreement?
Yes, of course.
Wonderful. Well, Ron, you've had a decent amount of experience in e-commerce by now, first with your eBay business and now with this FBA business. And we often have a lot of entrepreneurs who are listening to this who want to get into the e-commerce space themselves. So do you have any advice that you would give to our listeners that you wish you knew when you first started this FBA business?
Yes, I think that in every business, it all comes down to what value are you bringing to your customers. No matter what business it is, just make sure that you are providing value beyond all doubts. I think that's what made me fail with my 2 first products. I think that's the most important thing in any business.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Customer comes first, especially when it comes to value. So that's fantastic advice. And that leads us to the final question of the interview. So, Ron, if you had to put yourself into the shoes of a buyer, why do you think your business is a business worth buying?
I think it's a great niche, one that is very easy for a buyer to grow. It is all based around pretty much the same customer, and I think the potential is there and the growth can be achieved pretty fast. The margins are good and healthy, so I think it has what it takes in order to take this brand to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. It certainly sounds like there's a lot of potential that buyers can take advantage of. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners that I might have missed?
I think we covered it all.
Fantastic. Well, Ron, thank you so much for coming onto the show and giving us some more insight into you and your business. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you for having me here.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 64049. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.